Monday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals travel to Cleveland to take on the Browns today. I got my favorite player prop, spread pick, and same game parlay coming your guys' way. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Been having a pretty good season so far in the NFL. Sunday wasn't the best day for us, but we're going to keep diving into these plays season long. We also do our NBA daily best bets videos. If you are new, go down below, hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 50,000 subscribers, less than I think almost 300 away from that. Be a part of the Calling Our Shot 50K crew. We would appreciate it. This video is brought to you guys by Underdog Fantasy. If you sign up using our code COS down below or the link in the description, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100 of a bunch of Underdog Fantasy plays throughout the next NBA week into next week for week 9. Without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Player prop of this game, it's going to be a guy that I don't think a lot of people are expecting from me. Taking Mike Thomas over 24.5 receiving yards, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, no, this is not the Mike Thomas or Michael Thomas from the Saints. This is the Mike Thomas for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'd rather have him out there than the other Michael Thomas who isn't even playing these days. But at the end of the day, you look at Mike Thomas of the Bengals, you look at his season-long stats, you're like, Austin, you're out of your mind. This guy only has 2 receptions, 38 yards on the season. And this should be a season-long prop, 24.5. And good joke, but let's talk about Thomas because I think he's going to fill in for a guy by the name of Jamar Chase. Now, as some people might not know, Jamar Chase is out. Not only tonight, but for probably, 4 to 6 weeks is this projected out time. They didn't put him on IR, but we'll see exactly how long he's out. But he's definitely out tonight. And Thomas is the guy that lines up on the outside. A lot of people are thinking, oh, Tyler Boyd, here comes 12 targets that Jamar Chase was getting. They're all going straight to Tyler Boyd. I don't think so. I think Tyler Boyd is going to play that role that he plays in the slot, and he's just going to keep doing it. That's what he's known for doing. You don't want to throw Tyler Boyd out on the outside. It's not his specialty. He's more of a slot guy. And so you're going to see a guy like Mike Thomas, at least I hope it's Mike Thomas, it should be him, slide onto the outside and play alongside T. Higgins or on the opposite side of the field as T. Higgins. And ultimately, let's talk about T. Higgins because he's also missed time. T. Higgins, it's not outside the realm of possibility that T. Higgins doesn't go down tonight and then Mike Thomas to see even more targets. But T. Higgins, like Jamar Chase, he actually missed time earlier this season. I believe back in week 2 and then a couple weeks back. And in those games that he missed time, saw Mike Thomas step up and play 69 and 71% of the snaps. So he was out there when T. Higgins was out, and I imagine it's going to be kind of the same thing for Jamar Chase, who also plays on the outside. Now, in those 2 games, Mike Thomas didn't have the greatest production, had 1 reception for 5 yards and 1 reception for 33 yards, but he was targeted 5 and 3 times. Look, if you can go out there, get me 3 to 5 targets with Joe Burrow, I'll take my chances because we know this Bengals pass offense, it's very pass happy. This is a team that, they have a good running back in Joe Mixon, but they don't really trust their offensive line a ton, and they rather put the ball in the hands of Joe Burrow. I can't blame them at all. And like I said, T. Higgins is going to be out there. He's going to command a big target share, but the Browns know that. They're not just going to say, we'll let T. Higgins beat us one-on-one. Now, in the past, you could have done that with Jamar Chase, too, but I imagine you're going to see T. Higgins not only getting man on him, but probably a safety over top. T. Higgins, we know, it's a guy that can go deep and take the top off receivers. And I think the Browns are going to come into this mindset saying, you know what? I don't know who that guy is out there. Thomas on the back. Who is he? Yeah, we'll let you beat us. Go beat our other guys one-on-one, and I think he's going to have plenty of chances. Now, it comes down to if Mike Thomas can get open, and if he can just beat his guys and catch the football. At the end of the day, we're asking for 24.5 yards. He could do it on 1 catch like he did a couple weeks back when T. Higgins was out right around, I think, October 6th. I think that was week 6, I believe. But at the end of the day, you look at Thomas's reception line, sitting at 2.5 plus 115 on the over. 2.5, literally, he doesn't even have that on the season. So I think you're going to see these books. They say, well, Mike Thomas is going to be out there. We think he should get a couple catches. And I think that's what he will do. 25 yards is just too low of a number. If he gets 2 catches, he averages, 12 or something, just 12 yards and something per catch in his NFL career. He's certainly capable of getting 25 yards. And whether it's on 1 pass, a couple of catches, I don't really care how he gets it done. I really do think Mike Thomas has a good chance. We know the Browns secondary still banged up, missing Denzel Ward. Their other right cornerback is, I believe, questionable. I think he should play. But the Browns are 9th highest in yards per attempt in the NFL. So that's not great for the pass defense. We know they have a good, defensive line that's going to be rushing the passer. I think Mike Thomas is going to have to be trusted by Joe Burrow. He's had, over a week to kind of get ready for him. And I know Jamar Chase's injury just happened, but look, they're going to have to thrust Mike Thomas into that role. He's going to see a couple targets, and I think he can get that done. So I'll take his prop. Now, a good prop lean. I did look at Nick Chubb, but I wanted his over in rush attempts. I'll talk about that in a little bit when you get to that same game parlay. You'll understand why. But let's move on to a spread pick for this game. And I'm going with the Browns, plus 3.5, minus 115 on BetMGM. It's crucial you get that extra half because we know a lot of games can end on that field goal. And that's gonna be detrimental. Now, let's talk about this because in my opinion, Browns season is almost basically on the line here. Now, yes, they can lose this game and still make the playoffs, and they could lose this game and still cover, which is fine with me. But at the end of the day, they lose tonight, they would move to 2-6. They'll be 3 games back behind the Bengals and the Ravens. And sure, they would be, I think, 1-2 in the division. And you could argue the Bengals, if they lose, they would go down to 0-3 in the division, which isn't great. But I know the Browns, I mean, both these teams are going to be fighting, and I think it's going to be a close-fought game. Well, I think a field goal decides it, which is why I want the home team getting the points. Now, the Browns, they'll get Deshaun Watson back later on this year. Who knows what rust he'll come into with, but they might be out of contention by then, which is, week 13. And at the end of the day, I don't really want to lay points Cincinnati on the road missing their best wide receiver. Look, Jamar Chase is the guy that Joe Burrow can hike it, close his eyes, and he kind of knows where Jamar Chase is going to be. A guy like Mike Thomas, you don't really know that. T. Higgins is a good route runner, not Jamar Chase. Doesn't have the connection that, Joe Burrow has with Jamar Chase. And at the end of the day, yes, the Browns have lost 4 in a row, but they have played better at home where they will find themselves. Even despite them being, bad over the last couple decades, the Browns fans show up and they're out there in full force, and they're going to be amped up for this game, the Battle of Ohio. The Browns have played well at home. They've only lost one home game by more than 3 points. That was when they got spanked by the Patriots, and the other games were against the Jets, Steelers, and Chargers, all decent teams this year. They lost by 1, 2, and 3 points. So the Browns, if we know the recipe for success to beating the Bengals, which we aren't asking the Browns to beat the Bengals, but we know the recipe, you got to be able to rush the passer, and the Browns got Myles Garrett. They got Jadeveon Clowney. They could rush the passer, make it life difficult on Joe Burrow, leading him to maybe taking a sack on a first or second down, making it 3rd and long. Those are hard to you really get down the field and can convert those, especially without a guy like Jamar Chase on the other side of the ball. So kind of like the under in this one too. Hint, you might see that in a second, but ultimately I'd rather put my money on the home divisional underdog in this one. I think that's a smarter play. I'll take the Browns. It's not sexy by any stretch of the imagination. Betting on the Browns is not the sexiest play in the world, but I do think they got a chance here. I'll take them plus 3.5. Take a stab at it. Now let's move on to a same game parlay. Kind of going to combine a couple of my other leans. Now this SGP is tough to cook, but I cooked up this one. Nick Chubb, 70+ rushing yards. Nick Chubb anytime touchdown. And the under, 45.5 points, which is the regular over-under. Now, it's plus 467 on FanDuel. Let me talk about this a little bit. And the reason I was looking at a Nick Chubb prop is because Kareem Hunt is on the trade block at the moment. Now, by the time this video goes live at 10 p.m. Sunday night, Kareem Hunt could get traded hypothetically, but I don't imagine he does. But the trade deadline is on Tuesday, so technically tomorrow, probably by the time you're watching this. And could they probably just come out with a Nick Chubb only kind of game plan? It wouldn't surprise me. They don't want, if they lose this game, maybe they trade Kareem Hunt. So I don't think they want to run him into the ground, risk an injury, and then risk, a draft pick, because Kareem Hunt's already said he wanted to kind of be traded. He wanted a new deal. There's teams out there that are going to need Kareem Hunt, teams that are lacking at running back depth. So at the end of the day, I could see Nick Chubb having a big game today, and I think 70+ rushing yards, pretty good. He's pretty consistent. If he sees 15 to 18 to 20 touches, he's going to probably get that. It's one of the better running backs, pure runners that the NFL has to offer. And we know when they're getting close near the goal line, it's usually Nick Chubb, a guy that's going to go out there. Nick Chubb can also house one from 70 yards away and cash 2 legs of the parlay. And then my last one will be the under 45.5 points, because it's a home divisional game. I just imagine we saw a lot of scoring on Sunday. I don't think you see a lot of scoring in this one. We've seen primetime games really struggle with scoring really pretty much the whole season long. And while I'm not necessarily, one to buy into all those narratives, what I am going to say that I think this is a home divisional game. These two defenses are capable, and I think with guys like, with Jamar Chase out and with the Browns defense kind of backs against the wall, I think both Browns and Bengals defense are kind of be the backs of both these two teams. And ultimately, I think this goes under. Could be sketchy. And yes, we're getting better odds because we're betting on a guy to score a touchdown and then taking an under, which gives us better odds. But ultimately, I like it. 3 legs plus 467 odds. Sure, I'll sprinkle on it. Not the most confident SGP I've ever posted, so don't put a whole lot on it. But Monday Night Football, enjoy the game. Enjoy our NBA Best Bet videos on the screen if you want to go check out that once it is live Monday morning. We've been crushing it there. This is Austin, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.